What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 5 tips to get a Division I scholarship offer. Let's get started. Now, before we get into this video, fellas, if you would like to train with us this offseason, check out that very first link in the description below. We're going to be traveling out to 15 more states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. So we're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Miami, Florida. Then we'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Nevada, Charlotte, North Carolina, Portland, Oregon. Then we'll be coming out to Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois, Buffalo, New York. Then we'll be heading out to Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Boise, Idaho, Detroit, Michigan, and Los Angeles, California. So again, if you guys would like some more information on how you could sign up to train with us, check out that very first link in the description below. That's where you can sign up. All of our camps last year were completely sold out. So really appreciate the support, and we hope we can see you guys there. Again, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. Now, to receive a Division I scholarship offer, the first thing that you are going to need is varsity film. So technically, you cannot receive an actual committable scholarship offer until the summer before your junior year. So if you see a bunch of kids, like 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade kids with all these scholarship offers and they don't have any varsity film, those offers mean absolutely nothing. It's like a verbal offer. It's like a verbal offer that you would make on like a house, for example. Like let's say you're trying to buy a house. You say, hey, I'd love to buy your house for $1 million. That does not matter. That will not hold up in court. That will not hold up. That's not a contract, right? So that's essentially what you see a lot of these younger kids getting from assistant coaches at a college. The colleges are it's kind of like a cop-out, right? Like a college will say, hey, if like this is essentially what they're saying. If you're as good as we think you might be, the scholarship offer is going to be there, but we're not going to give you anything official because legally we can't. So if you're bad and it doesn't work out, then we're not held accountable for the scholarship offer that we gave you. So most of the offers that you see before the summer before a recruit's junior year is complete BS. It is complete verbal offer, non-committable, does not mean anything. Now, to get that committable offer summer before your junior year, you need varsity film, right? So if you're sitting there and you're a guy who doesn't have varsity film yet, that should be your number one main focus. How can I start on varsity? Now I need to get film. And it doesn't necessarily need to be film for your specific position. Like let's say you're a receiver, for example. Like, yeah, we want receiver film because that's what you want to play at the next level. That's what you've worked so hard on. But if you get defensive reps, special teams reps, all those things can showcase that you are a playmaker, and that's something that you could bring to a college coach, and that's how we're going to talk about throughout the remainder of this video. That exact process, how you can get your film in front of college coaches and actually get recruited. But the first thing you need is a good varsity highlight tape. Now, when you guys have varsity film, like I mentioned at the end of that last clip, you want a varsity highlight tape. You want a great highlight tape. So what goes into making a great highlight tape? So no matter what position you play, offensive line, D-line, quarterback, receiver, running back, whatever it is not about the length of your highlight tape. It is about the first, honestly, I would say 5 plays. Because you got to understand from a college coach's perspective, everybody makes a highlight tape because they want a college coach to see their highlights and to see if they're that caliber of a player, especially at the Division I level. College coach is insanely busy. He is, as soon as the season ends, they are on the recruiting trail. They're traveling all over the place trying to find recruits for the next class. It is a grind and it is a lot of film. They're being exposed to a lot of kids and a lot of talent. So your tape needs to stand out. If you have this like 12-minute long tape, guys, 11 minutes, nobody's going to watch it, to be honest with you. They're going to watch maybe the first minute, the first 5 plays, and they're already going to have their mind made up. So no matter what position you are, those first 5 plays, those have to be the most explosive freaking plays that you have made all year, the absolute best plays. Honestly, and again, a lot of people worry oh, well, coach, I'm not starting my first game, or I'm going to be injured, or I transferred and I got to sit out 5 games. That honestly doesn't matter. The amount of games that you played and your stats do not matter as much as you think. Because again, a college coach does not look at your stats, because you could pass for 4,000 yards, but 3,000 of those yards could be bubble screens, right? So why does he care about your stats? You could be a receiver and catch 50 touchdowns, but they're like 1-yard screens where you just fall into the end zone. He doesn't care about stats. He cares about what you can put on film. So don't worry too much about it. Let's try to have as explosive as possible the tape, and it should only be 3 to 4 minutes long at the absolute max. 3 to 4 minutes of explosive in your best plays. That's a mistake that I made when I was in high school. I made this 8-minute long highlight tape, and honestly, after the first 2 minutes, there were some plays that probably didn't belong in there. In the last 5 to 7 minutes, there were some plays that I should have put towards the front of it because it showcased my skills a little bit better for what a college coach might want to see. So that highlight tape is super important. Let's make it explosive. Let's have the first 5 plays really pop out, and let's keep it within a 3 to 4 minute range. Now, another thing that you want to focus on with the highlight tape, keep it professional. You should have, again, your legal name, not a nickname. You should not be highlighting players that you like make look silly with like a move. You juke somebody. You don't want to do that. It's a job interview. You got to treat it like a job interview. You want to be as professional as possible. Have your name, graduating class, position, where you go to school. That is it. Do not put your favorite rap song on there as the music in the background. Just use a song that Hudl likes to use. But again, the highlight tape is a first impression. Treat it like a job interview and make sure we are professional. Now, when you have the highlight tape, how do you get it in front of college coaches? So like, let's say the season ends. Let's say you've made your highlight tape. You followed all the steps that we talked about in the last example. What can you do to get it in front of college coaches? So there's two really things that you should be focused on. Number one, having a good relationship with your high school coach. There's a ton of information out there about the recruiting process. You hear all the NCSA scams. You know, I can't stand NCSA. I can't stand anything that all those recruiting services stand for, because I think they take a lot of money from kids and don't give them any return on investment. That's just my opinion, right? But none of those services will ever tell you that a good relationship with your high school head coach is something that's going to help you get recruited more than all the connections that you have in the world. Because think about this. After the season ends, there's a period of time called the contact period, right? So the contact period is where different colleges, and you guys have probably seen it depending on the schools that you attend. I understand at some small schools, you don't get a lot of college coaches coming through. And I'm going to talk about how you guys can go about the recruiting process. But let's say you go to a bigger type school, right? You're going to have college coaches at your school. Like, they're going to come through during the winter workouts, springtime, during something called the contact period. You know who's the first person that they go contact? The high school head coach. They go to maybe the office to check in, and then they go right to the high school head coach's office and they ask him, do you have any players for me this year? Then, and again, maybe they have a good relationship. Maybe that college coach or that high school coach is a well-connected guy. That factors into a lot of people's decision when picking a high school to attend. Maybe he's a well-connected guy. You want to be one of the guys that he recommends. So how do you get to that spot? Obviously, you got to be a good player, number one. You got to have a good attitude, because a lot of guys, they shoot themselves in the foot because they have all this natural talent, ability. Maybe they've worked really hard, whatever it is. But they have a terrible attitude. They're cocky. They're not a team player. They don't show up to meetings. They don't show up to off-season workouts. They're always in the training room when really they just don't want to go to practice. Like, a college coach will never get that recommendation for that player from your high school head coach, because the high school head coach doesn't want to look bad. He wants that college coach to keep coming back so he can keep feeding him kids, which will bring more talent to that specific high school, right? It's pretty simple. So if you have a bad attitude and you're not that team type of guy, you're not that team first type of player, high school coach will never recommend you to a college coach. You need a good relationship. And again, if you feel like your high school coach has it out for you, just try to put in more effort. Let's have good grades. Let's show up to everything. Anything that's optional, that actually means that it's mandatory, because that relationship can set you up for future recruiting opportunities, okay? Number two, if you go to a small school, and let's say you don't have a lot of college coaches coming to your school that you can meet, you guys need to set, and even if you're at a bigger school, you should still do this as well. You need to set up a Twitter account. So you need to get on Twitter, because that's where college coaches do a lot of their recruiting, right? Because college coaches understand they can't go everywhere. They can't probably go to all 50 states. They can't see all of the talent that they might see. So they recruit a lot on Twitter. They're talking with kids. Kids will follow them. You follow them back. So you should make a Twitter account. Again, it's a job interview. Everything about this process is a job interview. Let's have a professional profile picture. Let's have it be, a picture from, like school, football, photos, whatever it is. Keep it professional. Have your attributes in the bio, like height, weight. If it's something that can stand out. If you're undersized, you probably shouldn't put that in the bio. Put any accolades that you maybe have, like first team all-league, Sunset League MVP, whatever it is. And then put your Hudl link in your bio, pin it, post it as a tweet and pin it. And again, follow coaches, DM coaches with your highlights, reach out to them. Guys, it's all about just honestly relationships and networking. Will you get an offer by just sending out film a bunch of times? Probably not, right? But you could build a relationship that could lead to future opportunities with what we're going to talk about in the remainder of this video. So like I said in the following clip, that you want to build relationships with coaches, right? So when they come to your school, you want to build a relationship with them. You want to meet them. You want to ask them questions. You reach out to coaches on Twitter. You have a dialogue with coaches on Twitter. Those are the coaches that you want to try to attend their college camps. So a lot of kids go about the college camp circuit the incredibly wrong way, right? What they'll do is they'll just go to a million different college camps where there's 200 plus kids, they're unknown, and you are going to get absolutely zero out of that entire recruiting process. Like, let's say, for example, you live in like Georgia, for example. Let's say you live in Georgia. You have never once communicated with a coach from the University of Georgia. Not an assistant coach, not a recruiting coordinator, not an offensive coordinator, not nobody. You don't know a single person on the staff. And your thought is, I'm going to go to their college camp and I'm going to go perform really well and I'm going to get a scholarship offer. Guys, a college camp is only 2 to 4 hours most likely. Most likely. 4 is probably shooting high. They cannot evaluate 300 kids in 2 hours. Most of it, probably 95% of the kids there, it is a money grab. The college knows who they like already before they even show up to the camp. And those kids were already there for 2 days before the camp even started, getting a tour of the facility, meeting all the coaches, etc. Not you, right? So why are you wasting your time with that camp? Like, let's say you want to go to Georgia, right? Like, maybe that's a goal, and that's great. And who's to say that you can't go there? But let's say you've never talked to one of those coaches, but like Georgia Southern, you've communicated with their OC, their receiver coach, whoever, and they know you, you should go to that camp over the University of Georgia camp. You will get more out of it. You could actually meet the coach in person. Again, keep building the relationship, and maybe you perform really well. Maybe they liked your film. Maybe they just wanted to see more of you, and maybe you could land a scholarship offer there. It's unlikely to get an offer at a camp, I'm going to tell you that right now, but that's the process of what you should do. You need to go to college camps where you actually know the staff and you've communicated with the staff. And how you communicate with them is meeting them at your school and communicating with them on Twitter. That is how you play the college camp game correctly to land that D1 offer. Now, let's say, again, you went to all the college camps, you went to the right camps where you actually know coaches, you have relationships with coaches, but maybe you haven't gotten a scholarship offer yet. You know, maybe there's a little bit of discouragement, you're doing all the right things, you have varsity film, etc., right? Maybe you're going into your junior year, or, you know, maybe you're a junior going into your senior year. What can I do to still land that scholarship offer? And again, people put a lot of pressure on like the D1 or bust attitude, right? Where it's like, if I don't go D1, like I'm done, like, you know, I'm only playing a Division I school. Like, guys, at the end of the day, like, some people are just not cut out for it. Like, maybe it's your size, you know, like me, for example. I knew I wasn't going to go to the league. Everybody always talks a lot of crap on the videos saying, well, how does this guy know so much? He didn't play in the NFL. It's like, guys, I'm 5'9". I'm a white dude. Like, it's not, like, it's probably not likely for me to be able to go to the league like that, right? But I just wanted my school paid for. So like, if I can go play D1 somewhere and get my school paid for, great. If not, I go to a smaller division school, which is what I did, and I got it completely paid for. I was okay with that. I just didn't want my parents to have to pay for college. That was my number one goal. They could retire. That was my goal. I never wanted to play in the league because I knew I wasn't cut out for that, right? But again, and some people may. So the game is consistently changing and the game is constantly evolving. So you never know, right? But still, at the end of the day, it's about getting your school paid for. And if one school pulls the trigger on you and they're willing to give you a full, complete ride, and you can go to college, meet a whole bunch of people, get a degree, which sets you up for future success, maybe play ball after college, whatever level it may be, great. But that should be your goal. You know what I mean? And again, if you're setting goals high and you want to be a Division I player, I'm not the one to tell you that's not the right goal, because I think it's great. I think you should go after exactly what you want. But again, we just need one school to pull the trigger on us, right? So after the season ends, maybe you have all these relationships with coaches. You got to stay in touch with them during the season. Like, and how do you stay in touch? You create a mid-season highlight tape the following year. So like, let's say right now, like this video is filmed in September. Season ends, we go through this whole process the following September of like 2024, right? After 5 games, you make a midseason tape. You send it out to those coaches so they can see you. They're familiar with you. They see, oh, wow, maybe we just need to see a little more film on this guy. He looks good. Let's pull the trigger with an offer. And that's kind of how the process works, guys. The entire thing that we just mapped out, that's what you guys should be focused on this year. It starts with your film. Then it's about the highlight tape. Then it's about networking. Then it's about camps. And then it's about following up with that process and repeating that process over and over again until obviously somebody pulls the trigger on you. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you'd like to train with us in 15 different states this year, we're coming out all the way from Miami, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, San Francisco, California, all over the country. Again, very first link in that description below. We'd love to have you out. I'll see you guys next time.